what do you think are some things that we can do if we notice someone has the same symptoms that you were struggling with? Like, if it's someone I care about, like a friend or just like a classmate, if I notice that they're going through this, what can I do to help them, in your perspective?
Yeah, so good question. I'll start with a situation that's extremely severe. So let's talk about suicide. If someone is expressing suicidal ideations, or maybe they're changing the way that they speak, so they're saying things like, man, I wish, I didn't wake up today, or just something that kind of alarms you. What I've learned is QPR, which is a suicide prevention program, and it stands for question, persuade, and refer. So a lot of times there's a stigma that if we mention suicide, we're going to encourage someone to either complete suicide or feel like they should. But that's false. The reality is, when you mention suicide to someone who is suicidal, they now think that there's somebody that understands, or there's somebody that I can talk to. That's what really happens. Because while I was having those feelings and thoughts of suicide, if someone would have said, hey, have you had any thoughts of suicide? It would have shocked me a little bit, but it would have created a space for me to have that conversation. So that's the first thing with someone who's severe. Just ask the question, and it can be straightforward. Are you having thoughts of suicide? Have you thought about harming yourself? Have you thought about injuring someone else? Just asking the question, because that myth is so strong that we shy away from having the conversation. We shy away from asking the straightforward questions, and then that person feels as if they're alone, and it may even increase the likelihood of them completing suicide. The next thing is to persuade, which is basically persuading that person to seek help. So understanding that there is professional help on our campus. We have CAPS, which is Counseling and Psychological Services. So we have counselors and therapists for absolutely free, as long as you're a student or faculty and staff, and you can see a therapist. That's where I went. And then refer, which is referring them directly to whatever that service is. If they are in a crisis situation, not saying, hey, you should go see a counselor. Literally take them to that counselor, or take them to whatever professional they may need, or calling 911, actually like doing it. Because a lot of times they may say that, yeah, I'll go do it, or I'll go see someone, and they never do it because of just how depression works and how mental illness works. It kind of plays tricks on your mind. For a situation that may not be so severe, still having the conversation. I've noticed that you've been drinking a lot more at parties than you have been in the past. Is everything okay? Just wondering, just asking. And they may lie and say, yeah, everything is okay, like I did. But what that does is it opens up the space for the conversation. So that may allow them to understand that next time they do feel that way, because you asked that question, they can come back to you and say, hey, you remember that conversation? You asked me, is everything okay? Actually, it's not. And maybe this has been going on at home, or whatever the case is for them.